Obviously a high IQ, experience, championship caliber player that can really fit with any lineup out there. He gives us space. He gives us presence on the defensive end. You saw the pass he made to me out the corner on a give and go. So it's just kind of unspoken chemistry that will continue to get better. But he is kind of multi-dimensional as a five-man, and excited to see what that looks like, for me, for Jimmy, J.K., Draymond. And again, any lineup, you can throw him out there at the five, and he kind of lifts the group.
Steph, can you talk about what you saw from J.K. tonight, and kind of what has his mentality been and the team's mentality toward him been since all the dust has settled?
Like we said at media day, I mean, that stuff is part of the business. And when he showed up Thursday, it was business as usual. Just come in, play, give effort, continue to try to get better. I'm not going to overanalyze every minute he's out there. It's not good for anybody. It's just, can we win? Can he be a part of that, no matter how it looks? So excited for him to get his legs underneath him and keep building.
Just overall, what did you make of the first half?
There's not much to take away from a preseason game with guys. We didn't do any personnel scouts or anything. It was just, can you get your wind underneath you, get up and down, timing, just get used to the sights and the sounds of a full arena again. I thought we played pretty well after the first 4 or 5 possessions, but it's just good to get back out there and compete against another team, feel the physicality and speed of the game. See some shots go down. We buckled down and got a couple stops, but we'll watch some film on just patterns and stuff that you do during preseason to keep getting better.
Steph, can you tell right away in the first preseason game that the offseason conditioning, everything you do to get ready, has worked, that you feel like your body's in the right spot? And related question, the other day you said you do more off-court work now than on-court work. Any example of something you do to prepare for the season off the court that you didn't do 5 years ago?
Yeah, I feel great. Knowing you weren't going to play a lot of minutes, the feeling of I wish I could have played more instead of looking at the clock, counting down the minutes until you get off the floor. I'd rather be in that first bucket, and that's kind of how it felt tonight. Like, could have played 20, 25. I felt, physically strong and able to do what I want to do. So that's good. No, we got, 2.5 weeks to get ready for open tonight. But other than that, off season is just like you do. I take less time off in the summer, and then it's about doing a little bit more often, if that makes sense. So instead of having 3 or 4 day huge chunks and you taking a break, it's kind of demanding something of your body pretty much every day. Whether that's a stretch, whether that's a lift, whether that's some conditioning, obviously on-court work. You try to do something every day to kind of keep your body moving. Because as you get older, if you do give yourself big gaps, it's hard to catch up.
Role, though, that you do now that you didn't previously?
Not really. I think the evolution of no, there's no circus action. No, it's just kind of the idea of workouts that I do now. Probably a decade ago, I probably would have thought I'm not getting anything out of this because it was not Olympic lifts and all type of just kind of the basic details of making sure your body can move the right way. And it's just the fundamentals of stuff. But, if you're in the gym with me for an hour and a half, you might not think I did anything, which is certain days. But I'm putting my body under a lot of stress and challenging it in a way that allows you to be efficient out there on the floor. I don't know. That's a good question. I think it happens over time. Everybody's a little different just based on the baby steps of how you show up to practice. Are you doing the little things and coming with the right energy on a day-to-day basis? And then eventually that translates to getting an opportunity on the floor, which then translates to, are you impacting winning? Everybody has a different pace when it comes to that, but I think there's a level of comfort that you feel. It might not be anything that you can predict, but you just have a body of work that you know that they understand the game at a level, or they go out and just play their heart out, and you love those type of guys too. So it's a little different for everybody.
Steph Moses had a really nice line tonight. He had the off-season surgery on his thumb. When you look at his line, do you see this could be an example of nights that he could have when he's healthy? Or is there something deeper that maybe you've observed? Have you seen anything evolve for his three-point shot and shot selection?
It's just confidence. For a young guy, when you don't know when your minutes, that's the biggest challenge. You don't know when your time's coming, whether you're going to play 8 straight minutes or just a minute, or if you're going to get a couple touches before you get a shot up, or if it's your first time you're touching it, you got to launch it because you're open. Like, going through all of those different scenarios allows you to build your confidence so that when you hit the beginning of your prime, like you've seen it all in a sense, and you've gone through shooting droughts, you've gone when you're hot but you come out real quick, and the mental warfare that comes out of that, and then you translate that to the summer, and then you have clarity on what you need to work on to then translate that to the season. So I would say, and maybe he could speak on it, that this is probably the best summer he's had, health-wise, obviously, but just the idea of he knows what he needs to do to impact the game when he's on the floor, where his shots are going to come and all that. So that comes over time. And it's good to see him out there. You can kind of tell the way he's carrying himself. He has clarity on what he needs to do.
Steph, piggybacking off Ron's question, talking about, as you're getting older, how long did it take you to heal from that hamstring injury? And then just obviously, what concerns do you have just making sure you try to stay as healthy as possible?
Unfortunately, I was ready that Saturday. But it's just a mindset of the work that you need to do day in, day out to keep your body strong. Those type of injuries you can't really avoid in a sense, because they're just, that's the first time it's happened in my whole career kind of vibe. So you just try to give yourself the best chance, coming out feeling good, knowing as the density of the schedule comes that you're getting your rest, you're getting your recovery, you're staying on top of all those things that allow you to get from game to game. And just try to put yourself in the best shape to be out there, be durable, which I've been, for the most of my career after the ankle stuff, and I hope to continue that. I'll be back in an hour, so we'll come back and do this. I'm going to come back in an hour. We're going to do it again. In an hour, yeah, we're going to do it again.
How does your shot feel right now? Obviously, we saw the results tonight, but just going through your surgery in the off season and then getting to this point right now, how confident do you feel with that outside shot?
Good. I think the surgery and everything ended up being like a really good thing for me, because I was in rehabbing and bringing my thumb back into my shot made me really slow down and notice everything about my jump shot, and that helped me a lot. And I know I joke about working out, playing with my left hand a lot, but it was stuff about teaching myself how to shoot with my left hand made me be really detail-oriented on how to shoot, and I think that helps when bringing it back to my right.
That first 5 that you guys started with tonight obviously had a lot of success after Jimmy came last year. How natural did that carryover feel from last season to this game tonight for you?
Yeah, just a couple months in between, so. No, yeah, it felt good just being out there with that group. I like what we are able to do, the things that are created when we out there together. I guess it's just a really special group.
This team asks you to be the point of attack defender, hit the 3-ball, do a lot of little things and places. How do you sort of see that trust from your staff and teammates?
I think that's a big part of what got me on the floor consistently in the position that I am. So if that's what got me there, I got to keep doing it. And over the summer, I've gotten better at different stuff too, being able to have a better idea of what this team needs me to be. So just embracing that and bringing it every night.
How much does having more of a cemented role not just help with your confidence, but also just knowing where your shots are going to come from and knowing what's expected of you?
I mean, nothing's too concrete in the NBA, but just being prepared for anything is always, but definitely more stability, knowing, having an idea of what your role is going to be makes stuff a lot simpler.
Moses, your guys' first 5 made shots in the second half were all 3-pointers. How do you compare the floor spacing and outside shooting threat that this team has, maybe even compared to teams that you were on in the first 4 years?
I think we got a really selfless team. So when it's starting with Steph, but also starting with Jimmy, just the way that Steph plays, he creates so much for everybody else, even by looking for his own shot. It makes everybody else open, if that makes sense. And then Jimmy, just getting in the paint, attacking and being able to finish, but also creating a lot for everybody else. So that kind of sets the trend for the rest of the team, and that's where the open shots come from, the kick, swing, swing.
The way you guys are moving the ball out there, you guys look like I mean, it's kind of early, it's just preseason, but do you feel like there's like a sense of urgency that you guys are kind of like really focused for this season to come about?
Definitely. That's my favorite part about being here in this organization, is that it's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're trying to win a championship. So that creates urgency, that creates focus, detail, and I think that's all characteristics of being a professional. And I think that's the feeling out there on the floor. You're out here with professionals, not kids out here trying to figure out, different things or whatever. It's professionals, and the goal is clear.
We asked Steph and Steve about it, but how did it feel playing with Al Horford tonight?
It was cool. I've been playing with him all week, but I like what he does to the offense, adding that three-point threat from that position, him being able to pop, and then the stuff he does. Like I say, professional. That dude's been in the league most of my life, so he has that feel, he has that presence on the floor, so it's good to just be out there with him.
You knew Al was gonna fit. What was it like seeing him out there in a game with this?
Fun. I mean, just to see the size and the shooting ability, passing ability, just the flow of the game. What an addition he is. And as I said before the game, we can play him with anybody. We played him with Quentin Post in the last, I think, 4 minutes of the second quarter. We went on a huge run. So he fits any lineup, makes every lineup better. We're lucky to have him.
Steve, it looked like Al's activity level was off the charts for what you were supposed to expect from a guy of his age. But he came out there and he was just the 3 points, but he was all over the court. Is that just what you've seen in practice and so forth?
Yeah. I mean, it's more a sign of his basketball IQ than it is like him, flying around trying to impress anybody. He's just always in the right spot. You saw those, I think he had a couple block shots, and both of them, he just three. The two that I remember, he just, rotated over perfectly, recognized the late shot clock, knew exactly where he was, what he needed to do. So it's a guy who's been around for a long time and has seen everything, and the game comes very naturally to him.
Steve, Jonathan Minga had 4 assists, 6 rebounds. Didn't look like he was really trying to score. I was wondering, was that a point of emphasis today?
No.
What did you make of his game overall?
I thought he played well. He obviously missed the first couple of days of practice, so he was a little bit behind on some of the stuff we were doing, but I thought JK played well. Made a couple of great passes in transition. That second and third quarter, the game really flowed for us, and our transition spacing, which we've been working on all week, was great. And so that was the best part of the game, those 2 quarters, and I liked some of the plays that JK made during those stretches.
You went with the smaller lineup to start. You kind of, like you said, switched out in different lineups. Where are you at on, I know you're trying to put stuff out. Where are you at on if you want to start big with Al or potentially go
Yeah, I mean, what I like about the small lineup is it really empowers Moses to be that disruptor defensively, which he was right away. I know he picked up a couple fouls, but he had a couple deflections. You could feel his presence right away, and then he has this great shooting night. So I love starting Moses for that reason. I also love starting Brandon because he connects the game for us. I think he was another plus 16 tonight. That lineup was fantastic for us last year. So we need to play it at some point in the game. It doesn't mean that Draymond's going to be logging heavy minutes at the 5 because we came off the bench with 3 centers tonight. So if we start that way, it still allows Draymond to get off of the big hulking centers as the game goes on. And so I'm confident that we can play that lineup. Whether we start it or not, I don't know, but I'm confident that we need to play it because it was so good last year, and you can see why.
More on Al Horford. We got a glimpse of him with Quentin Post's lineup that you were sort of talking about earlier this week. What did you sort of make of how they played together?
It was fun to watch because, to get 2 really big guys on the floor together, that kind of size and shooting at the same time is a really interesting combination. We played some zone with them. You could see the length out there. We made a great run there at the end of the second quarter. Got 3 or 4 stops in a row off the zone and ran the floor well. And then both guys see the game, good passers. So that was a fun night to watch that combination.
Jimmy, Draymond, Al Horford, those are 3 just incredibly smart, all defense caliber guys all through their career. What is having those 3 guys? Are there any new options that you feel like that unlocks for you defensively?
For sure. I mean, Al, you saw it tonight, the defensive IQ, but also just the size and length. So if we put him with Jimmy and Draymond, which I imagine we will do often this year, I think they'll close a lot of games because of what you're talking about. Obviously Steph, and then we've got plenty of options. BP, Moses, Buddy. A lot of different guys can step in there with those 3. So it's an enticing combination.
You threw a few different zone defense looks out there. I know they're probably related to the lineup combinations, but could you explain the thought process behind some of those looks?
Yeah, I mean, I think zone can be effective these days. Everybody sort of plays a similar style, gets you in, high pick and roll with floor spacing, and teams develop a rhythm. So I kind of like zone to disrupt team's rhythm. So we played some last year. We played more in the playoffs really than we did in the regular season. But I could see us playing more zone. But we'll have to see how effective it is.
Just what do you think about getting the first look at your spacing? What do you think about the way you guys space?
It was great in transition, and then half court, not great, but we haven't worked on that as much. We've really focused on our transition and our flow these past 5 days. Next week, we've got to start looking at the ISO spacing when Jimmy has the ball. Last year we got really good with that right away, but we haven't emphasized it at all this week. So we need to emphasize it next week, get guys to space so that Jimmy has enough room to go to work and find the open shooter.